Three bows to the Buddha. First bow. Second bow. Third bow. And bow to teacher.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Let me share with you my screen first. Okay, can you see my slides in
Yes.
full slides? Yes, okay, thank you. Okay, hang on. Okay, good morning and good evening, everyone. I hope you all had a great day yesterday. Yesterday we started to look at the Tathāgatagarbha teachings. This school of thought is classified under Mahayana teachings. This school, okay, and along with the Madhyamaka Yogacara teachings, these three are the main systems of thought in Mahayana. So now I'm give you a quick recap. Okay. Um, so some key points to remember from yesterday's talk is that the Tathāgatagarbha teachings aim to encourage people with weaker spiritual foundations to develop their faith and confidence in themselves and paths. These teachings cater to people who cannot understand arising and cessation or the doctrine on emptiness. Specifically, they have attachment to something permanent and think without such a permanent thing, liberation and cyclic existence cannot be properly explained. So, the Buddha introduces Buddha nature, which is inherently pure and permanent. This is a way to address their fears and give them hope that they can practice the path because Buddha nature is inherently pure and is found in all sentient beings. So this is a recap of yesterday's lesson. Okay, so move on to today's lesson. So this table we have three Dharma seals, Madhyamaka, and Yogacara. So here I'm going to connect the teachings of Madhyamaka and Yogacara to the three seals. Okay. The Madhyamaka practitioner rely on the teaching of no intrinsic nature or no intrinsic self in both sentient beings and non-sentient beings. This is the basis to explain how dependent co-arising is an illusion-like form of existence that arises and ceases. This doctrine conforms to the two Dharma seals of no self and impermanence. Here, Venerable Yin-Shun connects the teachings back to the three Dharma seals because these three seals help us determine which teachings conform to the Buddha Dharma. Any teaching that departs from the three Dharma seals is not reliable, remember. So note that different teachings can have preference towards a particular Dharma seal. But if a teaching or method truly belongs to the Buddha Dharma, it must conform with the three Dharma seals, whether it is one, two, or all three seals. This is something I would like you all to remember. When you listen to different teachings on the Dharma from different teachers, apart from checking the source references, you should contemplate deeper and see how it conforms to the three Dharma seals. So this is the way to protect yourself against incorrect teachings. Let's look at the consciousness-only parts. Consciousness-only practitioners rely on the notion of an existent nature, that is, karmic seeds, to explain how all phenomena arise and cease and are impermanent. Among the characteristics of karmic seed, the first is that they arise and cease from moment to moment, so impermanent. These practitioners also thoroughly reject the existence of real Pudgala. Have you heard of this term, Pudgala? It means human, person, Pudgala, okay? So a synonym of self, something like that, Ataman, Pudgala, etc., okay? So such views are similar to that of the Sarvastivada and Sautrantika schools of the Sravakayana, okay? So in this respect, the consciousness-only teachings do not deviate from the Agama teachings. Both the Madhyamaka and Yogacara teach that humans have no real self or real soul, okay? So Madhyamaka teaching and the Yogacara teaching teach humans or sentient beings have no real self or soul. But Yogacara teachings in some ways are different from the Agamas when it explains other non-human dharmas and introduces an inherent nature. Namely, this inherent nature is the certainty of seeds and their respective fruits. Okay. For heretic like Buddhists, so here we call it heretic like Buddhists. So it similar to they thought similar to close to or like heretic teachings. So for heretic like Buddhists that attached to the Buddha and the Dharma as real, and the theist followers, Madhyamaka and Yogacara teachings present views that they find extremely difficult to accept and understand. So they can understand the Madhyamaka teaching or Yogacara teaching, okay? In particular, they question without an intrinsic self, how is reincarnation then possible? So when we see the movie after people die, we see something fly out from the body, right? It's called soul. So it fly to another place or into a woman's womb and become a baby, something like that. So usually people have this idea. So it is easy to use this way to explain how people from this life to next life. But note here the mention of heretic like Buddhists that attached to Buddha and Dharma's real is referring to a particular school of Buddhism. According to Venerable Yin-Shun's understanding, this description is criticizing the Vatsiputriya school. Difficult to pronounce it. Vatsiputriya school, okay, which is a sub-branch of Sarvastivada school, okay. So the Vatsiputriya school teaches that there is a self, which they call the unexplainable self. This runs against the mainstream teaching of no self. And so this school often was scolded by other schools of Buddhism. However, we should bear in mind that each school of Buddhism has its own system of teaching with its particular audience in mind. The Vatsiputriya school actually had a very large following, and the areas in ancient India where their teaching can be found are not insignificant. So it's an important school, okay? So their doctrine accepted by a lot of people. This is not hard to comprehend, given that throughout history, the spiritual belief in India tended towards a soul of some sort of, and so having this unexplainable self would be something that people in ancient India would have found to be more appealing. Okay, they when they hear such a teaching, they feel familiar and they feel happy to hear such kind of explanation. Okay. Now, if phenomena arise and cease from moment to moment, how does the previous life connect with the next life? This is these people's thought. They need something. They need something permanent. So if things arise and cease, it's impossible to for them to understand how life from this life to the next. This topic has been a long-standing issue in the Buddha Dharma, which is reflected in the treatise on the attainment of consciousness only. It's a difficult treatise. Okay. When it says, if there is no real self, what then undergoes cyclic existence, moving from one place to another? So this is not the position of this treatise. This is a question we see we see in this treatise. Someone else proposed such a question. Okay. In addition, the Lankavatara Sutra says aggregates, elements, and faculties arise and cease. If there is no intrinsic self as the basis, how could arising and ceasing be possible? Ignorant beings think if there is nothing permanent, then the ending of suffering and achievement of nirvana become impossible. So quite a few people have this thought. So this passage by the Mahamati Bodhisattva is representative of the view held by ordinary beings who are ignorant about the truth. Such people feel that impermanence and the no self cannot support or explain cyclic existence and attainment of liberation. So in the minds of such beings, teachings that say all dharmas arise and cease, and the teachings that say cyclic existence and impermanence equal to suffering. They feel such teaching cannot give rise to the hope of ending suffering and attaining lasting happiness. Accordingly, it is impossible to end suffering without a permanent self that does not change. In short, these people disagree with the teachings about no self because in such conditions, no one or thing will experience the end of suffering, and no one or thing will experience liberation. Therefore, among non-Buddhists and some practitioners of the Buddha Dharma, there's a group of people who think that the doctrine on arising and cessation cannot explain how one is caught in cyclic existence and gains nirvana. Okay. So The Buddha says this group of people fear the teachings and no intrinsic self. When they hear of no self, they become afraid that both cyclic existence and nirvana cannot be proven, and think that after that death there is nothing at all. So Buddha says these people have fears towards such a teachings. So this tells us that these people actually want or hope for a next life. And this is because they fear having no future at all. As spiritual practitioners, we need to correct this delusional fear about having no future. Listen, we should develop our confidence in the law of cause and effect. As long as we have defilement, we definitely have next future life. Unless we cut off all the affliction and attain nirvana. Otherwise, no need to fear, okay? Even if we are unable to see the direct link between a cause and its result, our faith in karma should be such that all we need to focus on is to do good now and trust that these seeds of goodness will yield wholesome and happy future result. We must develop faith and confidence in the inevitability of karma. Okay, this instruction is not just for beginners, but also for seasoned Buddhist practitioners. So we need to have a faith in the karma or the law of cause and effects. Okay. As long as the causes still there must be the result. So without firm faith in karma, we will develop fear when we encounter difficult or unhappy situations. This means when we have fears about future, this indicates we actually do not have full confidence in the law of cause and effects. So we all understand or learn such a Buddha Dharma, right? And we're familiar with such a teaching. But actually, if we have fear for future, it shows we don't have the confidence in such a teaching. Remember, so we will need to reflect ourselves, okay? So this is like the question Mahanama asked the Buddha. So he has story for you. um, some of you may have heard of this story before. So the story says, once Mahanama told the Buddha that he recites and recollects the Buddha's name regularly as part of his practice. But he noticed that sometimes when on busy streets, his mind gets distracted and he loses recollection of the Buddha. He asked Buddha, if I were to die on a busy crossroad, and was unable to recall the Buddha at the time of my death, uh, would I regress to the undesirable realms in my next life? So the Buddha told him, no. The reason is his regular practice will lead to a good future results, just like a tree growing slanted to one side. It will fall in that direction when cut down, unless there was some extraordinary counterforce at that time, which causes the slanted tree to somehow fall into the opposite direction. But this force must be extremely strong and powerful. Otherwise, the direction will definite, okay, will be sure. So the moral here is to just keep doing good deeds and have faith that these good karma will bring forth happy results. So back to the group of people who cannot accept and understand the doctrine of no self. That is, they cannot accept or understand either the Madhyamaka or Yogacara teachings. They are beings with such weakness and doubts. This group is not insignificant. It is for these people that the Buddha had to adopt the teachings to suit their spiritual foundation, and so skillfully devised another method to help them. This skillful method is the Tathāgatagarbha teaching. The Buddha gave many teachings, and among these teachings, there are some sutras that do say within the body of sentient beings or within the minds of sentient beings, there, in, there intrinsically exists a Buddha nature, and this nature has complete wisdom, virtues, and the magnificent appearance of a Buddha. Such an ideology is very similar to the theist beliefs in ancient India, but it's a skillful means, remember, although it looks very similar to heretical teaching. Note here that Venerable Yin-Shun acknowledges that the Buddhist scriptures do include such teachings, although Venerable Yin-Shun personally consider that the middle path teachings to be more thorough. He still respects the other major system of teachings. This is because as long as the teachings are found in the Buddhist scriptures, they are part of the Buddha Dharma, okay? So I would like to point this out because some people have criticized Venerable Yin-Shun for being biased to the Madhyamaka teachings. But this is not true, okay? It is just that Venerable Yin-Shun analyzes the Buddha Dharma from the aspect of provisional and ultimate teachings, and categorizes the Madhyamaka teaching as ultimate. But he also recognized the value of provisional teachings like Tathāgatagarbha teachings. So, provisional and ultimate. Provisional teaching means is a teaching for beginner. When they become advanced, we need to change the teaching to another style. Okay. Ultimate teaching means from the beginning to the ultimate aim. Throughout, we practice such a teaching, we can reach the ultimate goal. Okay, so provisional, just for a certain situation. Okay, so ultimate for a normal situation. So do you remember last year's talk, which explained that the difference between the provisional and ultimate teachings? Basically, from the Madhyamaka definition, ultimate teachings can guide one to liberation, while provisional teachings can help people to enter the Buddha Dharma, enter the gate, okay, entrance, and then develop their ability to learn and practice the ultimate teachings. Okay. So if you want to review this, I suggest you to review last year's talks, which are available on the Yin-Shun Foundation's YouTube channel. Okay. So advertisement time is over. Now back to Tathāgatagarbha teachings. Basically, any teachings that are found in the Buddhist scriptures should be respected, but we must also pay attention to their purpose and function. Have you heard of the Tibetan Buddhist school called Jonampa? Have you heard of this? No? Yes? Okay, good. Jenny heard of this. This school bases their doctrine on 10 Mahayana sutras that expound teachings on Tathāgatagarbha and recognize the existence of intrinsic self. This school in Tibet is also criticized, like the Vatsiputriya school in ancient India. Okay, for promoting the reason is they promote a teaching about self. Basically, schools of Buddhism that adopt a teaching with some notion of self tend to experience back, uh, backlash from the mainstream, such as Madhyamaka followers. This is because the core and early teachings found in the Buddha Dharma focuses on non-self and emptiness. Within the circle of Chinese Buddhism, such a tenet also exists, where they regard experiencing a true self to be the highest form of practice. Here, Venerable Yin-Shun is pointing out that in our present scripture records, such a teaching thus exists. Venerable Yin-Shun has a research paper or book about Chan school text called Tanjing. Have you read this book in Chinese? No. I hope this text can be translated into English. Venerable Yin-Shun obtained a PhD degree from Japanese university because of this text, this book. Okay, so Japanese scholar uh, respect this book a lot. Okay, and archaeological findings in China have revealed several versions of this sutra, and in these versions of Tanjing is usually called platform sutra, right? Platform. Platform, have you heard of this? Is Chan Buddhism's important text, Tanjing. So according to the archaeological findings, there are many versions of these texts. And in these versions, there is a section about just a minute. I forget to plug uh, my computer. Okay, just a minute. Sorry for the interruption. Sorry. Okay. So in this version, so we have many versions of such platform sutra. Okay. There is a section about experiencing a true self. So it's not a real part of this text. Okay. It's additional texts edited into or insert this text. So this text has been edited many times. Okay. So this is not to say that this sutra is questionable. It is just to point out that some information in time, this sutra was updated with such texts or teaching. So how should we interpret this true self? We should refer back to Buddha's another teachings. Okay, so such information or text message do appear in the platform sutra, but it's not the original form. Okay, so it's the later disciple. They feel this is part of his teacher's idea, so they add this message into this platform sutra. Okay, the Buddha knows that sentient beings are ignorant and will mistake this Tathāgatagarbha for a soul. So this is because of this reason, because they do read the Tathāgatagarbha teaching and they think the Tathāgatagarbha is the soul. So the Buddha uh, preempt uh, emptily clarify, sorry, the Buddha preemptively clarify the true purpose of the Tathāgatagarbha teachings in the Lankavatara Sutra. In short, the Tathāgatagarbha is not a soul or Atman or intrinsic self. In fact, it is another name for the nature of emptiness. Okay, Tathāgatagarbha is another name for uh, the nature of emptiness, but its description is similar to intrinsic self. Okay, some people will then question, how can the nature of emptiness possess the 32 hallmarks of a Buddha? This information do appear in the Lankavatara Sutra. Okay, so how to explain these texts? This should be understood as the 32 hallmarks of the Buddha align with or accord with the nature of emptiness. Okay, so the Buddha have the 32 hallmarks because they realize the nature of emptiness. So this because of the cause, and so we describe the cause as these qualities. Okay. So that is, these 32 marks arise as the result of the virtues, the result of the virtue and the result of realization of emptiness. Okay. So this is why the sutra has such a description. So it is not that this nature of emptiness innately has 32 hallmarks. Rather, when a being becomes a Buddha because they perfectly realize the truth, they have also cultivated many virtues and wisdom along the way. With these cultivated virtues as the causes, then the 32 hallmarks appear because they are the result of having cultivated these causes. So this cultivation includes the virtues and the wisdom, right? So the wisdom part is to realize the nature of emptiness. So they are together. Without this virtue, we can't fully realize the emptiness. Without the wisdom, we can't correctly cultivate these virtues. So these two paths should be combined. Okay. The Tathāgatagarbha teachings specifically cater to non-Buddhists who cling to the view of a self. But in fact, this system of teaching does align with the Mahayana doctrine on emptiness. So we need to make clear and not superficially equate the Tathāgatagarbha teachings to be the same as heretical notions of a soul. Although the description very similar, but the actual content is um, nature of emptiness. So it's sort of skillful means, okay? It's sort of like when we take medicine. Some medicine have how can I capture which tastes sweet, right? So, but the how can I say the medicine is inside the capsule, but without the outside the capsule, we reject to take the medicine because too bitter. Okay, so we need something to make it tasty, and so let people happy to have the medicine. But actually, the true medicine is inside the capture. Makes sense? Okay, good. So although the this description of the Tathāgatagarbha looks like heretical teaching, but actually is Tathāgatagarbha refers to emptiness or the nature of the truth. Okay. So next, let's look at the Harvest, which says this profound Tathāgatagarbha is the basis of purity and impurity. Note here in this half verse, the Chinese word yin. Can you see here yin basis? Okay, and let me show you. So this is Chinese character yin, literally means cause, right? But here our translation is basis. Okay. So the Chinese word yin, uh, which is translated as basis, should not be uh, interpreted as cause in the sense of giving birth to something, like mother give birth to a child. So the term in here, we can't interpret this term as a cause in the sense of giving birth to something, okay? That's why we translate this Chinese character as basis. So this is the real meaning of this term in this context. So it is not a direct cause and result relationship. Here, the word yin or basis should be understood to be the foundation for or that which is relied upon. That means relying on the Tathāgatagarbha as a basis, all other dharmas can then arise and exist. Tathāgatagarbha is pure and does not directly give birth to any dharma, remember. Instead, it is the alaya and in particular the seeds in the alaya consciousness are the causes of individual phenomena. The term alaya here is used to refer to the state of the Tathāgatagarbha after being covered by defilement since time without beginning. This is not the same as the alaya taught by the Yogacara school. So again, the same term, different meaning. Okay. So here, alaya has two parts. One is pure, okay, which is the Tathāgatagarbha. And alaya also has another part, which is impure, which is the Tathāgatagarbha covered by defilement. So the whole thing is alaya vijnana. Okay. This verse also mentions purity, which refers to purity of the transcendental state. This purity does not include wholesome or good deeds of the worldly states. The reason is that worldly states of goodness are accompanied by defilements, while the transcendental state embodies wisdom and the destruction of defilements. Let's back to the Lankavatara Sutra, which says, aggregates, elements, and faculties arise and cease. If there is no intrinsic self as the basis, how could arising and ceasing be possible? Ignorant beings think if there is nothing permanent, then the ending of suffering and then an achievement of nirvana become impossible. Ignorant being let the Mahamati Bodhisattva is referring to are those who want and long for the qualities of nirvana and Buddhahood to be innately present in the man body that undergoes cyclic existence. Okay, so to cater to this group of practitioners, the Buddha therefore taught them about Tathāgatagarbha. The mentality of these beings is a bit like one who goes go panning. Have you heard of, have you tried it? Go panning. After digging some soil, you wash it in a pan, and the different weight of the soil and gold gets separated as you wish it in the pan. But who is willing to spend time panning if they know there's no gold in the soil, right? So if no Buddha nature in our body or mind, people don't want to practice because hopeless. Okay, so the same idea. Okay, so similarly, people in this group need assurance that if they are diligent in practice of Buddha Dharma, then Buddhahood can be attained because it is there in the first place. So the Tathāgatagarbha teachings are more easily accepted by people with this type of mentality or spiritual foundation. The Lankavatara Sutra also says, Tathāgatagarbha is the basis of purity and impurity. which can universally give rise to all beings of all dharmas, just like performer who can play many roles. It is undefiled in nature and ultimately pure. So can you see the simile performer? We change our appearance. No, the performer change their appearance, right? But the same people, okay? Looks different, but something the same. So this is the the meaning of this simile, okay? Note here the word performance comes from the Sanskrit texts that is available. So the Chinese is here. Yeah, sometimes it can be a magician, okay? But in this context, it's performer. So sometimes based on the Chinese word 继儿, it is translated as a magician. But based on the Sanskrit term Nata, well, I have shown on the text here, Nata. So it means the Sanskrit term Nata means actor or actress that can take on many different roles, but it is still the same actor or actress behind each character that is portrayed. In this analogy, the performer that can portray all sorts of characters is likened to the main body that experiences cyclic existence. In each existence, one's appearance or character is different, but it is still that same being. Okay. I think it's time I have to stop the lesson today. We have got 2 minutes left. So any question? Interesting? No? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Any question, please?
Venerable, I just wanted to say I understood it much better than yesterday, so I'll have to
Yeah.
go and look at the slides from yesterday.
Yeah, yeah. So it's it's also because you're getting better, so can absorb more, can more concentration better. Your concentration better. Okay. So Tathāgatagarbha is something, and the real meaning is the truth, the true nature, the truth of all Dharma. Okay, but the description a bit different. That's why we need to spend a lot of time to to let uh let you understand the correct meaning of behind this description. So this description looks like heretical teaching, but this teaching uh, accepted by many Buddhists who has who have thoughts that they need something permanent. Okay, so it's time to finish the class, right? Or one more question, maybe.
I
If
mean, it's up to
no,
you, Bante or Fasu. So
sorry.
it's your time too. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But we hope we can finish the class uh, on on time, right?
yep.
It's a virtue, or it's also a virtue. Okay.
Okay.
Time
So
is valuable for everyone. Okay, so I
cool.
think it's better to stop here. If you have any question, I will leave more time tomorrow. so that you can sort out your doubts. Okay.
All right, let's close the
Yep.
night
Yep.
with 3 bows to the Buddha. First bow. Second bow. Third bow. And bow to the teacher.
Thank you so much for your attention. I hope the lesson today is helpful.